packing of the meal. After returning to my original spot in the living room, Amy rejoined me with another one of her dolls as she did her best to fit in with the giant strangers around her. As time slowly continued, it was someone's idea to set the video game station to a computerized version of Wheel of Fortune. Each time the wheel was spun, the graphic Vanna White would clap simultaneously with the spin of the wheel. When the wheel stopped, she stopped. At the beginning of the game, we all chimed in to answer each of the questions, solving the puzzles. There were the Swinson girls, Spec 4 Hallmeyer, PV2 Granada. Then there was the addition of another squad leader, Spec 4 Jeb Arnold, hailing from Covington, Kentucky, who stared at you pseudo-cordially with sky blues from behind his John Lennon-like spectacles. Also, the platoon hunk, so he thought. Private First Class Steve McCormick from Casper, Wyoming, did his aggressive usual with his opinionated presence. Devouring the energy, he regurgitated wrong answers, but his big voice and his reddening face and blotches made his answers right with each chew of Skoal tobacco. Last but not least, there was little old me, fresh from the uptown hood of Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn, and uptown Harlem, New York. The household was amazed at first by all of my right answers and solved puzzles, but my little girlfriend Amy was disgruntled at my shift of attention to the giant people. I truly didn't mean to hurt her feelings after our premier connection. Amy must have felt overlooked often on a daily basis as the youngest individual in a quiet, nuclear-like household, currently loud with new, huge people to meet, and me, 3 time zones away from the rats, roaches, and rhythm of 8 million crammed dream chasers. I was being overlooked due to stereotypical, underestimated intelligence. I quickly began spiraling into a mosquito in a glass of milk mental type scenario. Amy was whisked away by her sister Lisa after becoming possessed with a tantrum. By this time, I was purely drowning in the mental milk, while my comrades answered all the questions, solved all the puzzles at an elevated volume which drowned me out, not allowing me to get a word in. Starting to feel like a ghost, I thought of the pearly white smile of Staff Sergeant Gilliard, equivalent to the sunshine after a storm, and I jumped to my feet to give the signal I needed to go. My platoon sergeant returned a raised eyebrow at the mention of Staff Sergeant Gillard and my need to suddenly call her and spend some of my Thanksgiving holiday at her house with her family. Private Haynie, are you sure you want to head over to Sergeant Gillard's? I mean, one, she's about 5-minute drive from here, and that's not too nearby. You'll be walking for a while. I don't think you want to walk around here by yourself. It's about sundown. Sergeant Swinson, I replied. I'm from New York. Shoot yourself. The next 10 minutes, I was bopping down winding roads with no sidewalks, much different from the city. After a while, I made myself feel right at home, like I was way out on Long Island, or up in Westchester, or Orange County, dealing with the brisk chill of autumn, following the hues of a starlit night-covered mountainous sunset. The street intersections seemed a mile apart, with less frequent crossings. To take my mind off the increasing darkness, I decided that I didn't have a choice but to sing and rap my favorite tunes of the day aloud to pass the time of the walk. I must have been in my second verse of belting out cameos, kinda, complete with dance moves, still alone, or so I thought. I didn't acknowledge the humming motor of the Washington State Trooper vehicle riding alongside me. The window was already down when I heard the policeman state, "Where you getting to, boy?" The euphoria of my self-concept disappeared. Hoped this wouldn't turn into a situation like when a blonde policewoman smashed my head against a wall to urinate on it and called me a puppy dog. And the policewoman in my head bust memory was the clone to this state trooper behind the wheel while her dark-haired partner prepared to question me further. I just left my platoon sergeant's house back up the road and I'm going to Sergeant Gillard's house on Yosemite Way. Okay, Yosemite's a few more footsteps. If we look hard through these trees here, where the lights over there, where the lights are over there, that's where you're going. Happy holiday, guys, and thank you for serving our country. The window rolled up and they continued to slowly cruise ahead of me. I shake my head at the memory now, and the thumping of my heartbeat sticks in my throat at the recollection. Finally, I found Sergeant Gillard's place. She lived in a humongous one-floor brick house with a real modern-type kitchen for that time period, with wall-to-wall cream carpeting all over her home. I recall her magnificent white grand piano and a large living room, the antique furniture. Her couches were plastic covered. The vibe at Sergeant Gillard's home was wonderful and rich, yet mysteriously quiet. I still see her smiling in my mind's eye. Private Haynie, how handsome you look. I like the suit you're wearing. Are you hungry? Care for something to eat or drink? Happy Thanksgiving. Well, not just yet. I ate at Sergeant Swinson's. The food was good there, but I promise you I will call and come by. Her flawless, Mary Wilson smile never left, making me wish for an autograph. You sure did, and I'm glad you made it. My husband has stepped out. For how long, I do not know. I'm sure he would love to meet you. He's not military. You can stay as long as you like. I'm really glad you came. My husband and I don't have much company. Our conversation continued for about an hour, and she dropped me back on base with 2 plates of standard Thanksgiving menu with my additional favorites like yams, macaroni and cheese. There was even some chopped barbecue with the half of a sweet potato pie for dessert. I slept well that night. The next morning at formation, before heading to the mess hall for breakfast, the medical platoon was ironically filled at a 95% capacity, while the rest of the brigade platoons headed to chow before Sergeant First Class Swinton called for our final fallout formation. He put the platoon at ease. He proceeded to speak about the Thanksgiving holiday and gave praise to his house guests, thanking us for dining with him and his family. That was mighty fine of you men and women, Specialist Hallmeyer, Sergeant First Class Swinson said. But Private Haynie, you deserted us. The smile abandoned my face when Ronald allowed for all to hear. And yeah, soldier, what happened? How could you desert little Amy? She took a nap after you made her go nuts. And when she came back to us, she goes, where's my friend? Where's my friend? Where's my friend, the brown guy? Where's the brown man? The entire platoon doubled over with laughter, including quite a few of Hispanic descent. Everyone cracked up but the African-American medics. The roaring slowing to a snicker as Sergeant First Swinson called the platoon to his final. Platoon, attention! Fall out! My head was a 25-pound dumbbell, hanging kind of low, unnoticeably to me, as I started off to the dining hall, feeling like I was in a lonely fishbowl. Haynie! Wait up, home slice! Sergeant Lonnie Lee Barnes from Chicago called out to me with his sidekick Spec for Tyrone Green from Baltimore right with him, both smoking their Newport cigarettes. I waited for them to approach me just to hear Sergeant Barnes ask, you going to Uncle Tom now, New York? Excuse me, I replied. You heard me, young brother. You know how many folks' cribs you could have thrown down at yesterday instead of hanging with the KKK? Shit, you lucky your body parts ain't spread out all over this damn base. You got to know how Arnold and his boys be holding meetings when the clinic closed. You know him and his crew call us jigaboos, spooks, and mud sharks. And there you go, eating with them crackers on Thanksgiving. I'll be damned. Disappointed in you, bruh. Flicking his smoked cigarette, Green added, guess the brown boy just had to be there. My 2 medical comrades walked ahead of me to the mess hall, shaking their heads in disgust. I was left thinking about all the key players, from these 2 guys to Mrs. Henson, to Sergeant Gillard, to the state troopers, to every last player, especially little innocent Amy. America, the good old US of A, the country at large, and its holidays. The holidays, no matter how small or grand, you find yourself needing a spiritual connection to love without loved ones present in your life. The holidays are advertised this way: love, sharing, family, joy, history, spending. So in hindsight, for a major holiday like Thanksgiving, people are ensuring that love is in the air, from the aromas of kitchens across the country to the assembling of loved ones, from blood relatives and in-laws to friends of the family. Anyone can be allowed, or so we are led to think. Perhaps even strangers in your home, outsiders wandering in your area. And everyone should be fed spiritually, mentally, and physically on Thanksgiving in America, and no one should ever go hungry.